And yeah, just take a minute to get comfortable. Whatever that means for you, whether that is legs straight, legs bent, arms on the stomach, arms at the sides of the body. Well, I'm still wrestling with my screen over here. There we go. And then just take a big deep breath in. Big exhale, letting it go. Take a few moments to settle into this moment. I know I've been away from my mat a little while. You mentioned you've been away from your mat a little while. It's just that time of year where things get a little bit crazy. So now that we're back, let's take a moment to just sort of create that space and reset a little bit. Starting to think about an intention for your practice. And we're at a cool spot because we're at the beginning of a new year. So maybe you even have an intention in mind that's going to last for the month or for the year. That's great if that's what's coming to you, or maybe it's just something for this class, and that's great too. So take about 2 more breaths here. Fuller, deeper breaths. Even if you're a little stuffy, you can still take that breath as best you can. Feel that stomach expand. And then we're going to start to reach the arms overhead, reaching those fingertips above you, pointing your toes, and then starting to move a little bit. Move the ankles, move the wrists, roll the ankles and the wrists, roll them out. Rock it from side to side a little bit. And let's go right into drawing that right knee in towards you. So wrapping your arms around that right shin, hug the right knee in towards the shoulder, and just pause here for a moment. So we'll move it in a moment. But for now, just focus on hugging that knee in. You're creating a little, almost like a little massage or a little compression on the right side of the body. You can flex through that right foot. Now let's start to circle that knee. So go ahead and make some circles with that right leg. It can be circles, or it can also just sort of be like a side to side rock. Whatever feels most comfortable for you, whatever starts to get into that hip a little bit, go ahead and do that with the right leg. And we're going to go ahead and take the left foot, place that left foot on the mat. So the left knee is bent. The right leg is going to extend long. And let's just start to raise and lower that right leg. So as you lift the leg, you can kind of point the toes. As you lower it, flex through that foot. Just a couple more rounds, just like that. Pointing and flexing the foot, lifting it up and then lowering it back down. Starting to warm up the back of the leg. This can always be a great chance to sort of see where you are, if you're a little stiff, if you're a little sore, if you're still waking up a little bit, those muscles. The next time the leg lifts, go ahead and bring the hands behind the thigh, interlacing them behind the thigh, behind the calf, wherever it feels comfortable. You can kind of massage the back of the leg, maybe a little bend and straightening in the knee, maybe a little circling of the ankle, even rocking, or not rocking, but walking the hands up the leg. Any kind of movement that helps get a little deeper stretch in the back of that right leg. And then we'll start to come into that pigeon on our backs, bringing the right foot to the left knee. First, extend your arms out wide to the side, either long or cactus those arms, just letting the hips rock back and forth, side to side here. So this is kind of warming up the spine a little bit. As you come back through center, that left leg lifts up off the mat. Hands can interlace behind the left thigh or around that left shin, flexing through both feet here as you draw that left leg towards you. You can even take your right hand and kind of press the right knee away. That's an option as well. Maybe the left leg bends and straightens if that feels good, or just keep it still. We're going to slowly start to release that right leg down onto the mat. Keep drawing the left knee in towards you. So just like we did on the other side, start by just hugging that left knee in. No movement, just hugging that leg, getting that little massage on the left side of the body, drawing the shoulder and the knee towards each other. And now you can start to circle that left leg, circles or side to side, back and forth. And we'll go ahead and place that right foot on the mat, bending that right knee as the left leg extends long up towards the sky. Go ahead and start to raise and lower that left leg. As you inhale, the leg lifts up, the toe points. As you exhale, draw that foot back down towards the mat. Couple more times, warming up the back of the leg, any speed that you like. And as that left leg lifts, pause here. Bring the hands behind the leg, a little massage for the back of the leg or any movement that might feel good on this side. Taking that left foot, placing it on the right knee. Extend your arms out wide as you start to let those hips rock from side to side. As you come back to center, the right leg lifts up off the mat. Interlace your hands around that shin or behind the thigh, hugging the right leg in towards you and allowing that opening to take place in that left hip. And slowly removing the left foot from the right knee, hugging both knees in towards you as you start to rock your way up to a seated position, taking a couple rocks if that feels good, or just press yourself right up to a seat, crossing those legs. Take a moment to kind of rock out from side to side a little bit as you sit up a little taller, relaxing the shoulders. Take a big breath into the nose. Big exhale as you let it go. And then start to draw those shoulders up towards the ears and let them release down the back. Couple more times just like that, moving through the shoulders. Couple directions forward and then a couple circles backwards. And then with a big exhale, let those shoulders release down and back, pausing for a moment. And the chin is going to come forward towards the chest. So lengthening the spine, letting the head release forward, and then slowly starting to circle that head all the way around. Couple full circles or side to side. And then always the option to bring the hands to the neck as well. So basically just warming up the neck and shoulders in any way that feels good. As you start to come back to your center, lifting the top of the head up towards the sky, let's take a breath in, reach the arms overhead, left fingertips come to the side of you as we take that side stretch over to the left, stretching out the whole right side of the body, gazing under that right arm, reaching those fingertips. And then let's circle that right arm here. So making giant circles with that hand, kind of getting into your whole range of motion in that right shoulder. Maybe pausing if it feels good, or even bending the elbow and just kind of circling the elbow if that feels even better. And then we'll start to take it back up through center and right over to the right side. Right hand comes to the side of you. Left fingertips start to reach as you look under that left arm, pressing the heart and chest up towards the sky. Starting off by reaching the left fingertips and then making those circles when you're ready. Once you've taken a couple circles in both directions, you'll start to lift it back up through center. Go ahead and bring your hands back to your lap. And we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Interlace your hands under your toes. Take a breath in as you lengthen the spine. Take a breath out as you start to fold forward, pressing those elbows into those shins, drawing the chest towards the toes. As you come back through center, slowly lifting up, extend the right leg long. Bring the left foot into the right inner thigh, flex those right toes. Take a breath in as you reach your arms up overhead. As you exhale, fold over that right leg. Maybe bending that knee a little bit. That's fine if that feels great for your leg. Maybe massaging the back of the leg or moving the foot a little bit. The idea is just that you're getting that stretch through the back of the leg in any way that feels good. Even wrapping a strap or a rope or a tie around your foot and kind of drawing yourself towards that, that's an option as well. And slowly starting to lift yourself all the way back up. Let's take that left foot, place it on the right knee. So making that upside down figure 4 shape, we're gonna place the right foot on the mat, starting to come into our pigeon pose from a seated position. So just bumping that right foot as close to you as you like, or bumping your hips towards that right foot. And it could even mean having that leg still extended straight. If you're feeling that opening in the hip, then that's exactly where you want to be. If you're not feeling it, that's when you start to walk that right foot a little closer to the body, bending that right knee. But once you hit that spot that feels good, take a moment to just settle into that, lengthening the spine, closing the eyes, and just breathing into that hip a little bit. And slowly go ahead and let that right foot slide back down onto the mat. Extend the left leg long. We'll take the right foot, bring it into the left inner thigh, flex those left toes. And as you inhale, lift the arms up. As you exhale, fold over that left leg, just like you did on the other side. Massage the back of the leg, bend the knee. Maybe take a breath in and lengthen the spine, and then exhale and fold a little deeper. And slowly starting to lift it all the way back up. Let's bring that right foot to the left knee, setting up for that seated pigeon on the other side. So this side can be totally different. Maybe you take it a little deeper than you did on the other side, or maybe this side is still opening up a little bit more. So treat it like it's totally new and see where your hip wants to go on this side. Once you find that sweet spot, again, the eyes can close. Keep focusing on that length in the spine. So if the back starts to round, then just step the left foot away from you a little bit so that you can get that length in the back of the body. And slowly go ahead and extend that left leg long. Let's extend both legs. Just kind of tap out the backs of the legs. Let your feet rock from side to side a little bit. And we'll find your way into our first tabletop position. So coming onto the hands and the knees. Finding that flat back. And then moving through a couple rounds of your cat and cow. So as you inhale, press the stomach down, take the gaze up towards the sky. As you exhale, round the back, press the ground away from you, and continue like that in any way that feels good for you. So it can be up and down. It can be side to side, looking over one shoulder and the other shoulder. It could be circles. It could be anything that feels good. Do that. allowing that spine to move in a way that feels comfortable. From here, let's go ahead and take it into our first downward facing dog. So tucking those toes, straightening those legs, sending the hips up and back. And just as you did in your cat and cow, continue to move here, however it feels good for you. So that might mean lifting up the heels and then pressing them back down, bending the knees and then straightening them, rocking the hips out or shaking the head out, all these little movements that can help us start to settle in just a little bit more. We're gonna go ahead and lift the right foot up off the mat. Point it towards the sky or behind you, wherever it feels comfortable. And then you're gonna start to draw that right foot forward, step it in between your hands, and go ahead and lower down onto that back face. So we're in this little runner's lunge shape with the right knee bent and that left knee is down. Start to move through our Anjaneyasana flow by pressing the hips back, folding over that right leg, straightening the right leg, and then rebending that right knee, pressing the hips down towards the mat. Taking a couple more rounds of that, moving forwards and backwards, any speed, maybe even pausing if it feels good to just stop and massage the back of the leg and breathe into that. The next time that right knee is bent, let's pause there, starting to lift up this time, bringing the hands to the right knee, pressing those hips down and opening up through the upper body. So feeling that space in the upper body, that left hip is pressing down. And go ahead and bring those hands back to frame out that right foot. We're gonna come back to a modified side plank. So your left foot is like your kickstand or the knee that's staying down. You're gonna step that right foot back and extend the right leg long, bringing the inner arch of the right foot to the mat, peeling that right hand up towards the sky. So we're opening up to the right side, lengthening the right side of the body. Maybe that right arm reaches overhead. Maybe you circle that right arm just like we did when we were seated. Maybe you lift that right leg for an added challenge. And starting to close it back off to your tabletop. Right hand comes down, right knee comes down. Go ahead and move through a round of your cat and cow or rock those hips from side to side. Look over one shoulder and the other, just kind of resetting a little bit. And then from here, we're gonna take it back into your downward facing dog, tucking those toes, straightening those legs, send the hips up and back. And once again, take a breath or two, allowing yourself to continue to move if that still feels good. And then we'll start to lift that left leg, three-legged dog. Point the toes behind you. Draw that left knee forward. As you step that foot in between your hands, you can bring that right knee down. You can take a moment to slide that foot up or however you want to get it up there is fine. You need to readjust a little bit. Once you're here, we'll move through a couple rounds of that moving meditation, that flow. So press the hips back, fold over that left leg. Rebend that left knee as you inhale, lift up through the upper body, pressing the hips down. Couple more times, just like that, moving with your breath. The next time you come forward, we'll pause here, bringing the hands to that left knee as the upper body starts to lift up. Still thinking about sinking those hips lower and using the hands on the knee to kind of press the upper body up. So you're getting a little bit of a back bend, you're getting opening in the chest, and those hips are releasing down towards the mat. Slowly starting to bring your hands back to frame out that left foot. We're gonna find our side plank on the other side. So this time the right knee is the kickstand. The left foot extends back. That left arm reaches up towards the sky or overhead. Overhead kind of gives you a longer stretch on the left side of the body. So once you arrive in this side plank, find the variation that feels good for you. Movement in the left arm, lifting the left leg, or finding some stillness. And go ahead and close it off back to that tabletop position. Left hand, left knee, come down to the mat, shake it out, rock out those hips for a moment, and make your way back to your downward facing dog. Tucking the toes, straightening the legs. From our downward facing dog, let's roll it forward into a plank position, tucking the tailbone, lengthening the spine. Bring your knees down to the mat, and then we're gonna lower ourselves all the way onto our stomach. Hugging those elbows in nice and slow. Once you get to your stomach, we're gonna find that baby cobra. So lifting up your fingertips, pressing the shoulder blades together. And we're gonna press this right back to a downward facing dog. So press your hands into the mat, press those hips up and back, tuck the toes, straighten out the legs, and take a breath here. We're gonna do that 2 more times. Roll it forward into your plank position, tuck your tailbone, engage your core. Bring those knees to the mat, hug the elbows in as you slowly, with control, lower yourself onto your stomach. Maybe you stick with the baby cobra, or maybe you start to press your hands into the mat and lift up a little higher if that feels good. And back to that downward facing dog, toes tuck, legs extend, hips press up and back. One more time, just like that. Roll it out into a plank position. Bring those knees to the mat, slowly lowering onto the stomach. Taking any cobra that feels good for you. This time you can press it back to a child's pose. So go ahead and bring the hips to the heels. Your toes can be a little bit together, your knees a little bit apart as you find a shape that feels comfortable for you. And you can play around with your child pose because the same thing doesn't always feel comfortable for everyone. You can slide a pillow behind the knees if it doesn't feel comfortable on the knees. You can stack your hands and make a pillow for your head, or even bringing the fingertips to the sides of the body. Take about 3 or 4 more breaths here. Coming back to that intention that you set. Coming back to the breath. And then we're gonna slowly start to walk those fingertips back out in front of you if they weren't there already. Finding your way back into your downward facing dog, tucking the toes, straightening the legs, send those hips up and back. And once again, let's find our 3-legged dog, lifting that right leg up towards the sky. Draw the right knee towards your nose. Step that right foot in between your hands. If you need to adjust again, go ahead and do that. And then let's find a twist, peeling the right arm up towards the sky. So the left hand is down next to the right foot. That right hand is lifting and you're opening up to the right side. Placing that right hand back down on the mat. We're gonna walk our hands over to the left, coming to a wide-legged forward fold. Go ahead and walk over to the side. And we won't stay here long. We're just going to use this as a transition all the way up. So go ahead and press yourself all the way up to a standing, keeping that wide stance. Turn those right toes forward. Inhale as you lift the arms up. We're coming into a warrior 2. So you're bending into that right knee, relaxing those shoulders, lengthening those arms as you gaze towards that right hand. You can bend into that right knee even more.
Gonna come into a peaceful warrior, flipping the right palm, reach the right hand forward, take that right arm up and overhead. Bending into the right knee, lengthening the right side of the body, looking up towards the sky. And then we're gonna take this into an extended side angle. Your right elbow is coming to your right knee. Your your left hand is reaching forward. So not necessarily up overhead, but almost think of it as beyond the edge of your mat, like you're bringing the left shoulder towards your ear and you're looking up under that left arm. So a big stretch on the left side of the body. Slowly lifting this back up to your warrior 2. Relax those shoulders. And we're gonna turn this into a high lunge. So to do that, you're gonna sort of pivot straight on your mat, pivoting to the ball of the left foot. Those arms are coming up overhead. Might be a little bit of a funky transition, so if you need to adjust a little bit, go ahead. But those right toes are pointing forward. You're on the ball of the left foot. Good. And then we're gonna go ahead and bring those hands back down to frame out that right foot, coming back to that low lunge right where we started. And that right foot is gonna step back to your downward facing dog to meet the left. That was quite a long and tricky sequence. So be gentle with yourself if it's challenging. We're gonna do that same thing on the other side. So we're gonna start by lifting the left leg up, 3-legged dog. Draw that left knee towards your nose and then step that left foot in between your hands. If you need to use a hand to kind of slide that foot up, go for it. Once that left foot is forward, find your twist. Peel that left arm up towards the sky. The right hand is staying down on the mat. The left knee is above the left ankle, and you're twisting open to the left side. Go ahead and place that left hand back down on the mat. We're gonna walk the hands over to the right, coming to that wide-legged forward fold. Again, just as a transition, and then you can immediately start to bend those knees and press yourself up. So no need to stay in that forward fold shape. Once you've arrived, left toes are spinning to the front of your mat. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, bend into that left knee, relax those shoulders. Finding your warrior 2, reaching those arms in opposite directions, strong through the arms, relaxed shoulders, but energy out the fingertips. And then finding that peaceful warrior by flipping the left palm up towards the sky, reach forward and then take that left hand up and overhead. Let's take this into an extended side angle by bringing the left elbow to the left knee, the right hand reaching overhead, right shoulder towards your ear. And lifting it back up to your warrior 2 so that we can start to transition into that high lunge. So for your high lunge, you're spinning to the ball of the right foot. Your hips are shifting so they're facing the top of your mat and your hands are reaching up towards the sky. Go ahead and adjust a little bit if you need. And then from here, we're taking it to a low lunge, bringing the fingertips down to frame out that left foot. Stepping the left foot back to your downward facing dog. Good. From that down dog, let's take our flow. Go ahead and roll it out into your plank position. Bring those knees to the earth as you slowly lower yourself down onto your stomach. Press it up into that cobra. And then from here, let's press it back to a tabletop. Coming back to your hands and knees. Adjust a little bit if you need. Rock those hips out from side to side or give your wrists a little shake if that feels good for them. Let's go ahead and slowly start to make our way back into our downward facing dog, tucking those toes, straightening those legs, sending those hips up and back. Right leg lifts for your 3-legged dog. We'll do this one more time. Draw that right knee forward. Place the foot in between your hands. Lower that back knee, untuck the toes, and we're gonna lift up into our Anjaneyasana once again. So we were here before. You can keep your hands on your knee if you like, or you can start to reach the hands up towards the sky, coming a little deeper into this. So this is a great hip stretch as well. Pressing those hips down, opening up, and then reaching those hands up towards the sky. Slowly bringing the fingertips back down to frame out that right foot. Let's tuck the back toes, straighten that back leg back to that runner's lunge. And then that right foot steps back to meet the left. We'll do the same thing on the other side, lifting that left leg up and then draw the left knee to the nose, step the left foot in between your hands and lower down that right knee. Untucking those right toes. Take your time as you settle yourself in here. And then when you're ready, lifting it up a little bit, either keeping those hands on the knee or starting to reach the arms up towards the sky. There's other variations with your hands as well that you can always take no matter what's being suggested. You can have your hands in cactus arms and kind of open up through the heart and the throat if that feels good, or you can interlace your hands behind the body. Just different ways of coming into the same pose depending on what feels comfortable for you. And go ahead and bring those hands down to frame out the left foot. Let's tuck the right toes, straighten that back leg, step that left foot back to your downward facing dog. And once again, we'll lower it down onto our knees, finding that tabletop position. And then let's actually come all the way down into a seated position. So from your tabletop, lower yourself down even further, crossing those legs, rock it out from side to side, creating that length in the spine. And on the inhale, let's lift those arms up. As you exhale, start to fold forward, walking the fingertips away from you, relaxing the shoulders, letting the head become heavy. You can stay here, or you can walk the hands over to one side and the other side if that feels comfortable. Totally up to you whether you like movement or stillness at this point. And then slowly starting to walk the hands back towards you, pressing yourself back up to a seated position. And we're going to, let's do one more little hip stretch. This is a different one I haven't done in here, I don't think. So you're taking your right foot, placing it on top of your left knee. So you're kind of stacking your legs. If I come off the purple mat, a little easier to see. So the idea is that you're making a triangle shape. If you're to look down at your legs, they're kind of in a triangle. The goal is to have the right foot on the left knee. And I say that with an asterisk. It doesn't have to be on the right knee on the left foot. I'm not sure if that's what I said. So we're working the right knee towards the left foot. There might be a foot or two of space in between the foot and the knee, and that's okay. You can either keep that space or you can even slide a pillow or something in there to sort of buffer that space. But both feet are flexed. Right foot is on top of left knee. You're sitting up nice and straight. You can gently have your right hand on your right knee. And the idea is that you're just slowly relaxing through that right knee. As that hip opens, the knee releases down a little bit. This is called double pigeon. So rather than just having pigeon going on with one leg, it's going on with both legs. Just breathe into that. See if that knee releases a little bit. If it does, that's the goal. It doesn't matter where the knee ends up. What matters is it's a little bit different than where it started. And go ahead and extend both of those legs long. tap the mat a little bit. You kind of rock your feet from side to side, tap the backs of the legs on the mat. And we're going to come back into a cross-legged position, but you're going to come into it the opposite way. So whichever way feels a little bit funky, that's probably the correct way. So I have my right foot on the outside, my left foot closest to the body. Inhale as you lift your arms up. Exhale as you fold it forward. Once again, walking those fingertips away from you, letting your head become heavy. Anything you did on the other side that felt good, do that again, whether that's walking the hands from one side to the other, or maybe it's sitting up halfway as you inhale, and then as you exhale, folding a little deeper. And then slowly starting to walk the hands back towards you as you begin to press the upper body up. We're going to do that same little double pigeon on the other side. So this time your right leg is going to stay where it is. You're going to take your left foot, bring it to your right knee. So left foot is on top of right knee. Left knee is above the right foot, even if it's not directly on it, it's somewhere above it. Both feet are flexed. And just like you did on the other side, you're going to start to relax through the hip, releasing that left knee down towards the left foot. And maybe eventually the knee rests on the foot. Maybe it stays up a little higher and you slide a blanket under it, or you support it with that left hand. But if you're feeling that opening in that left hip, then you're doing it just right. Take another breath or two. Relax the shoulders. Notice if you're clenching anywhere that isn't necessary, the jaw or the shoulders, or sometimes you're squeezing that left hip. Try to relax through the hip. And once again, we'll go ahead and extend both legs long. You can tap out the backs of the legs, rock your feet from side to side a little bit. Let's flex those toes. Take a breath in as you reach the arms up. As you exhale, fold it forward. Any forward fold that feels comfortable. And if that means keeping the spine straighter, that's fine as well. This is another variation of forward fold. So this one might not feel great for you either. If that's the case, you can work on keeping the legs straight, flexing those toes, and maybe just sitting up straight. This is called staff position, when you're almost making like an L shape with your body. Your core is engaged here and you're getting that nice stretch in the legs, keeping that spine straight. You can even wrap a strap around your feet here as well and kind of pull the chest forward, but keep the spine extended. And then as you start to lift back up, let's take it all the way down, starting to lower yourself one vertebrae at a time onto that back. Taking a nice full body stretch once you get there, extending the legs long, extending the arms, big breath in. With a big exhale, you can let those hands come to the sides of the body, and we're gonna find our back bend, bending the knees, bringing the feet to the base of the spine. Hands are at the sides of the body, and when you're ready, go ahead and press those hips up, coming into our bridge pose. So your hands can be pressing into the mat, or they can be interlaced under the body, kind of wiggling your shoulders under you a little bit more. And you're going to take about 5 to 7 of your own breaths here. So depending on when you came into this pose, go ahead and count those breaths. Press those hips up, lengthen through the spine. Taking as much time as you like here. And then when you're ready, slowly peeling that spine back down onto the mat, one vertebrae at a time. Once the tailbone touches, those knees can rock it out from side to side. And let's come into a happy baby pose. So we're bending our knees, almost like you're trying to touch your knees to the floor, and then you're flexing your feet almost like you're trying to step on the ceiling. And so your hands can either be around your feet, or they can be behind the thighs if that feels more comfortable. So either way, whichever grip feels more comfortable, take that grip. And then move however your body wants to move, like a happy baby, like a playful baby, whether that's rocking from side to side, or maybe straightening and bending one leg at a time, and then straightening and bending the other leg, straightening both of them at once, or bringing the soles of the feet together for a reclined butterfly pose. From here, we're going to start to come into an inversion, and happy baby actually is an inversion. So if this feels comfortable and you want to stay here a little longer, you can. Otherwise, you're going to start to reach your feet up towards the sky, bringing those hands either behind your thighs or sitting on your hands, getting that nice length through the legs. And taking another 5 to 7 breaths in your inversion. So depending on when you arrived here, you can close those eyes. You can start to count out those breaths. And once you've taken your 5 to 7 breaths, your knees will start to draw back in towards you. Your arms wrap around your shins and just give yourself a little hug. Rock from side to side, circle the knees, maybe peel the head up off the mat, pressing your forehead towards your knees and then placing that head back down. And we'll come into our twist, extending your arms out wide, letting those knees release over to the right side. So your hands can be extended long. You can have cactus arms. You can have one leg crossed over the other, or even a hand coming to that thigh. You can do whatever feels comfortable. So take a few moments here in this twist. And then slowly those knees start to come back through center. As you gently make your way over to the other side, the knees will come to the left. Your gaze might go off to the right. Your eyes might start to close at this point. As you just let your body start to melt into the mat, completely surrendering, completely softening, breathing into that stillness. And once again, those knees can come back through center. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Let your knees release out to the sides in your reclined butterfly. So we had the option to do butterfly before with your feet in the air. Now those feet are on the mat. Your hands can come to your inner thighs, or they can be on your stomach or out to the sides, softening through the legs. And then taking a moment here to think about what other movement you still want. If there's a stretch that you love to do at the end of class that we didn't do, or another pose that you wanted to do and you hadn't, go ahead and do any of those things now. Anything that's going to make you feel really comfortable as you start to come towards the end of your practice. And then once you've done everything that you want and need to do and you're ready for your Savasana, go ahead and start to settle into that shape that feels best for you. And maybe it's the exact same shape you started in, with your legs long and your arms at the sides of the body. Or maybe there's another shape. Maybe you keep the soles of the feet together and the knees out to the side. Maybe you come back to a seated position. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Just find a shape that feels great for you. Close those eyes if they're not already. Take a big breath in through the nose. Big breath out the mouth. Letting the whole body begin to melt into the earth. Every part of the body that's touching your mat, imagine it's kind of just melting into the mat. So if you're lying on your back, your shoulders are melting into the earth. The back of your head is softening and relaxing. The heels are releasing. Backs of the legs are softening. Just feel that feeling of peace and calm coming over the body as you allow yourself to just stay here for a few moments in Savasana. Slowly starting to deepen your breath. Beginning to bring that awareness back to the mat, back to the room. Starting with those tiny little movements of your fingers and your toes, and then the wrists and the ankles. Eventually a bigger stretch, maybe reaching the arms overhead or bending or straightening the knees, depending on where your legs were. You can turn over onto your right side if that feels comfortable, with the knees bent in a little fetal position with the head resting on the arm. Just making the transition as slow and as gentle as possible. When you're ready, you'll slowly start to press yourself back up to a seated position, gently pressing your hands into the mat, lifting up through the upper body, closing the eyes or keeping them closed as you bring your hands to heart center. I am so grateful for you joining me this new year, for bringing that light and that energy with you and sharing it here tonight. Hope you have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you next week. Namaste.